Hello everyone, Ariam here, and welcome back to another episode of Not Dinosaur Days, because today we are not talking about a dinosaur. We are talking about the very strange Tanystropheus. Tanystropheus was a non-archosauriform archosauromorph, which means it's a reptile that would have been adjacent to the grouping that included dinosaurs and crocodilians, but it wasn't quite in that same family. The first thing you probably noticed from my drawing here is that this guy had one heck of a neck. There are several suggested species of this genus, and members ranged from 6 to 20 feet long depending on what species you're referring to. Now you might be wondering, how on earth did a reptile walk around with that sort of neck? Well, realistically, it probably didn't. While that super elongated neck is definitely an indication, studies of the hip bones and hind legs also show that this was likely an aquatic reptile. However, there's a lot of controversy around whether or not this animal could leave the water at all. Some researchers suggest that it could haul itself out onto the shoreline to bask, while others believe it would have been fully aquatic. A study from 2015 found that this animal's super long neck was actually relatively light, making up only about 20% of the animal's full body mass. However, some terrestrial predators, like large pterosaurs including Quetzalcoatlus, had heads and necks that made up over 50% of their full body mass. So, clearly having a long neck or heavy noggin doesn't necessarily mean that you can't exist on land. It all depends on the other structures of the body that may allow you to do so. While things are still pretty unclear as to exactly how this ancient reptile lived, a pretty general consensus is that it was at least semi-aquatic, swimming through the shallow waters, either rippling like a snake or paddling with those big back feet. Whether this reptile swam in the deep ocean, existed in the shallows, or sort of shimmied across the land is unknown, but it is clearly a very cool creature, and that should remind you to smile.